This next series of videos are going to be the smaller Eaglemoss starships, regular size Eaglemoss, whatever you want to call them, the original size. I'm going to start with the non-Starfleet ones and then basically try and go chronologically through them all, with one exception being the Enterprises. So, shall we begin? Starting with the non-Starfleet ships, not good guys. Majority of my collection is Starfleet. However, it actually began with this Bajoran Solar Sail ship, which from the get-go, and apparently I'm not the only one, I had this part come off. I've tried gluing it numerous times. I'm going to have to resort to something a little more, maybe not robust, but certainly more intrusive. Yeah, so previous to this one, I wasn't buying Eaglemoss. This was my gateway Eaglemoss. I had been getting the much smaller HeroClix game pieces, which had a lot of the ships represented, and thought, well, you know, I don't need to be spending $30 or more per ship when I can get smaller versions of them that basically do the same thing. And then Eaglemoss came out, and I thought, well, okay, I'm not getting into that. That's a rabbit hole. It's very expensive. And then this sucker came out, and it was like, holy crap, these are beautiful, and I need to start doing it. And so this is how I went into the Eaglemoss lightship, Bajoran lightship. So that's how I ended up going down the Eaglemoss rabbit hole. This was number 18, and as I said, that was my gateway Eaglemoss. And then eventually I started going backwards. At first I was just grabbing ships that represented the good guys. So for Star Trek IV, the fourth movie, the one with the whales, I needed a ship. And the only ship from that movie was, of course, the Bounty, which was a Klingon bird of prey that they had captured at the end of Star Trek III. So this made it into my collection as the stand-in for the Bounty, even though it doesn't have Bounty written on it anywhere, which is a shame. But yeah, that's how it ended up in my collection, because again, I was limiting myself only to the good guys at that point. So it was like, well, I don't have anything for Star Trek IV, because the only ship unique to Star Trek IV, the one that Kirk and Spock used and all of that, was the Bounty. Number 57 was the original series. This became my exception at this point. If it was in the original series or the remastered edition of the original series, then I was getting the Eaglemoss for that. Romulan Bird of Prey, circa 2266. So there you go. Number 57 in the series. And then we had the remastered HD versions of the original series started happening. And of course, when that occurred, they took what in the original broadcast in the 60s had just been points of light on the screen and actually designed ships for them. From Journey to Babel, this was the overclocked Orion ship that was trying to provoke the Enterprise while it had Spock's parents and the other ambassadors on board in order to keep Cordan from entering the Federation. The Orion ship. It only looked like that after they remastered. Previous to that, in the original 60s broadcast, it was a little more than a bright light on the screen. And you know what? Your imagination did the rest. Also from this period, the third season episode, the worst single episode of Star Trek in my opinion, of all of it, Spock's brain. This is the Imorg vessel. Scotty said, oh, it's ion driven. Piece of work that. Imorg ion drive ship. Yeah. I think it shows, if I remember correctly, it shows up at the beginning of the episode, just as Scotty is going on about the beauty of it. They're all basically put to sleep, and when they wake up, Spock is missing his brain. And that's why the episode is called Spock's Brain. Terrible, terrible episode. Big Bang Theory made a joke that Star Trek V was the bar by which all bad is measured. Star Trek V is Gone with the Wind compared to that. In the original series, we saw a base version of this ship. It was obviously not high def capable, And then when they did the remastered version for the Tholian Web original series, they remastered up the thing a bit, and this is what they come up with. So this isn't just the Tholian ship, because there's a version of it that appears in an Enterprise episode. This is the Tholian Web Spinner. Oh, it doesn't say it. Maybe they hadn't intended to do the one from Star Trek Enterprise. But there is one from Star Trek Enterprise that's circa Enterprise, whatever, 22, 2160, whatever. This is an exception to the rule I made, the Promelian Battle Cruiser. This is from a Next Gen episode. I can't remember why this qualified to me as an exception to the rule. Not a villain ship, I suppose, but can't imagine that that was alone the reason. And yet here we are with the Promelian Battle Cruiser. And the thing is, I don't even remember the episode. Like, I'd have to go back. I was never a big Next Gen fan, so. And then the final of the definitely not Starfleet designs in this size, but original series nonetheless, is the Viserys, which Kirk's Enterprise was like smaller than one of these dots in this episode, and this thing was just monstrous. And eventually 4 of these break off, and that's what has Belloc, whatever his name is, Viserys, First Federation. 3rd episode broadcast, 4 or 5-year-old Clint Howard, looking pretty much the way he looks now. So that's that group.